Hi everybody, this is Rick. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Rick Surowicz Watercolor. At any time during this video, you can click on the link in the lower right hand corner and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see more of my videos or learn more about my online courses, you can click on the links that appear at the end of the video. So this is the setup I'll be using. And for this painting, I'm going to be using a limited palette. And I'm going to work with a color combination that I like to paint sometimes, limited palette. And this happens to be a royal blue. And I'm going to take some sap green and add to that. And actually add a little more royal blue. So because I'm working with limited palette, I'm not going to be working too much, I'm not going to be using local color. And takes away the worries about, trying to mix what you consider the right color and let you focus on value structure. And trying to get a little bit more blue into my mixture there. There we go. So let's add a little bit of water here. I'm going to build this up in kind of three main steps of value. So I'm going to put a light wash over this to start. And then I'll work with some middle values, and then I'll work towards darker values. So right now, I'm starting to put that in there. I'm going to leave some of these clouds, the feeling of cloudy shapes, and I'll use this tissue to blot out some of those shapes a little bit. Sometimes I use a spray bottle. Be pretty liberal with what I'm doing at the moment. Just this light value, I want to lose the white of the paper, except on areas where I might end up going with a highlight. But let's go ahead and I'm gonna take this spray bottle I'll use sometimes. I'm just gonna soften some areas and put some clouds in there, and then I'll blot with my tissue. I'm not really going to get too involved in the clouds, but we'll go with a little bit. So I'm looking at some of these areas where I'm going to have some lighter values of the rooftops. And on these other areas, it's still very light, a light mixture that I'm using. So doing all this with a 1-inch flat brush. And I'm getting in a few areas. Let's see. Get this side. We'll leave some areas with some light value or some white paper. I'm going to leave some of the white of the paper here to show some of the crops a little bit, help distribute that light value. I don't know, I think I'm going to go darker here. We'll just focus up there. A few touches of light, a little bit here. And around there. So that was a pretty quick wash, a big wash, and you can see some areas where I left some highlights and the other areas where it's the light of the paper. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry this and then I'll start working in the middle values. Okay, so that's dry. And now I'm going to go more towards the middle values, still same colors. I'm not changing my colors. And I've got these trees in the background. And I'm going to paint around, paint some of those in. And I could have done that wet and wet, but I'm going to soften the edges on that. But I wanted to make the value changes more obvious. Then I've got back here, these trees in the distance. Again, I'm going to soften the edges with some water. Soften these edges. Just see just try and see the shapes. A little softer here. Okay. I'm going to come in some of these areas. So these are middle values that I'm bringing in. Get a shadow under there. This tree overlaps this structure. Put these tree trunks in. Got a little too close to the edge that I had there. We're just gonna keep on working on that a little bit. A little softer. I'm gonna leave a little gap so it doesn't run into it. And I'll be glazing back over that. Take a little bit of a middle value underneath the this roof where it's shadow. Actually, I want to bring this down. So this is kind of the second step in terms of value. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big wash brush and start to paint in some shadows and some things here. I'm going to get a little bit of just a light middle value going across here. And then from here, getting a little darker. Bring this value over here. I want to be aware of the direction that I'm applying this so it helps contour the, the feeling of these fields here. Okay. Now I want to dry this and I'll continue to define some shapes and build my values. This is dry, so I'm continuing to work with some of the middle values here to define a few more elements. So I have these trees. I'm going to add a little bit of shading to those. So I have those in there. A little bit here. We have this back here. So this is working a negative space, helps define this edge of the roof line. I'll drag my brush a little to make that more of a broken edge. And then we'll put a little shading on this tree. And some of this middle value. Shade a little bit on the silo. That also helps define the edge of that the roof line. And I'm going to take I'll take a little bit of this middle value, and we'll bring up these clouds a little bit. Got a little yellow or something in my brush there. Get rid of that. I'm going to take some water. And I'm going to take a spray bottle. That's kind of a fine mist spray. And so we'll give the feeling of some clouds here. I don't want to go too crazy. I don't want to try and turn this into a cloud painting. Maybe just stretch it over here so it connects with this edge of my painting. I'm going to create the feeling of distance here, making these closer and narrower, maybe a little bit here. Probably a little busier than what I was going to do, but that will work. So now once again, I want to dry this, and I'm going to come in with some much darker values. Okay, so I'm going to take my number 4 round brush, and I'm going to take some more of the two colors, royal blue and sap green, but make a much darker mixture. All right. Okay, so now there's some areas here where I'll be putting in some darker values. So I've gone through 2 stages really with my values, my middle values, my light values, and leaving some of the white of the paper, my middle values. And now I'm coming in with my dark values. And some of these will be gradated a little bit. Turn this just so I can get the angle I need to make that brush stroke. So now some of these are my darker values. And we'll go a little darker on some of these trees. And a little darker here. I'm going to touch on the edge of the silo here with some darks. There's a couple dark marks here. We'll get. And a little bit of the edge of the trees here, we're kind of in shadow, so coming in with this darker value there. I'll do a little bit of that here. Now I have this tree, go a little darker behind this. Bring this down, help show this edge. And now I want, these are kind of dark doorways here. Show the edge of this a little bit. Touch this. See how you can use line to help describe edge. Use value, use color, use line. So some of these I'm just using some marks just to show some of the edges. And paint some of the barn boards here, just an indication of some of that. A little bit of that here. Dark there. Go over here. Okay, now let me dry this. Actually, before I do, I'm going to take just a few touches. I want to distribute that value across my painting, so I'm going to make a few marks here just to help distribute that. And now, let me dry this. Okay, and that's where I'm going to stop. So very simple, scene, a lot of shapes, and working through the values, keeping it limited palette, starting with a light wash, white of the paper, middle values, and dark value. So I hope you enjoyed that.